After a 1 hour delay, the MotoGP opening practice session for the Dutch TT is underway here at the TT Assen circuit. 45 minutes ahead of us on a dry but damp circuit. The riders are keen to head out onto the track. Hello everybody, welcome to the first practice session of the weekend here for MotoGP at Assen. 42 minutes to go on the clock. We are well underway as we take a look quickly at Somkat Chandra. But this is a dry circuit to begin with, but we've had rain in the year. In fact, we had a complete delay. If you're just joining us and you've been wondering, well, where is MotoGP? We had a 45-minute delay to track action because at the end of the Moto3, we had oil on the circuit the entire way round, and then track conditions were worse in the pit lane, and with wet weather and oil, it had to be cleaned up. And then we had a 35-minute Moto2 session reduced, and now we're well underway for the MotoGP session. So the lunch break's been shortened. Shouldn't do too much damage to the overall weekend structure, so all is good. Bagnaia, now Montmir and now Maverick Vinales all setting different times. Let's take a look at Jack Miller on the Prima Pramac as well, coming through, the 30-year-old. Jack Miller's only 30 years old as well. He is one of the riders that look a lot older than he actually is coming into this one. But 45 minutes in a free practice session, mixed conditions around here. Many people have already been saying that with the calendar for next year looking like it could change and reduce some schedules. We could be going back to Assen being a Saturday race, which is the more traditional approach for MotoGP. So Thursday for practice, Friday for qualifying the sprint, Saturday for the Grand Prix to try and make the calendar just a little bit more smoother and streamlined as well. But we've got a single race here before 2 weeks time, the German Grand Prix, then into the summer's break, and right away Maverick Vinales on top with a 136.380. We'll be shifting commentary boxes as well during the session. Thanks to the delay, it means we can use the other box for this MotoGP session as well, so it's not going to be too bad. World Superbikes were here a couple of weeks ago as well at Assen, so it's not the first time we've been here this season, as Aldeguer tries to go to the inside of Miller down at turn 1, thinks better of it, and is right up alongside the gearbox actually of the Prima Pramac Yamaha. Aldeguer on a time as well. Delta's looking to be an improvement, as now up the inside Aldeguer makes the move. Montmir up into second position, 135.394, as you can see on the Delta timers alongside us here in the booth. And we've made it a little bit better, so you can now see the best lap time and then the current sector times, the speedometer and the tyre graphic as well coming through. And everyone's up there. Salvatore Antonio, 134.739. Ralph Fernandez second. Marc Marquez going up into third position, so an improvement for him on the monitor. But Digi looking strong. Remember that tomorrow we'll have the sprint race as well. It's all going to be a little bit different. Sprint race will be on JBMotorsports, the main channel. So qualifying will still be on JBMotorsports 2. The other action will migrate over to the main channel for the races. Quartararo hoping to go stronger here than he did at Mugello a week ago. An improvement desperately needed as well for the Yamaha squad. He's on the soft front tyre, medium rear, as they continue to hold inside line, just getting a little bit different at the rear and controlling it nicely. 30.990 in his first sector as well, so definitely has the traction and of improvements coming through. I'm trying to find out where the Delta timer is. Apparently not where we thought it was. Coming through. We'll have Susie Perry and the team during the break while we get our systems. Oh, big one there! Is that Marc Marquez? It is! Well, it's very rare to see Marc go down on a Ducati. He's thrown it down in the last two corners. He's up, walking away straight away. It's down at turn 15. And he's had to take his glove off straight away. So he's okay, doesn't need the splinter board. but Marc Marquez down. Let's take a look. So through 15 is the left-hander before the final corner. Rear steps out. Did well not to high-side it, actually, just have a normal fall through the gravel. But that's going to hurt Marc just a tiny bit. He'll feel a bit sore. It won't hurt too much. But, yeah, just took his glove off and checked his hand was okay because it barreled him in. All there. It did well. If that was a high side, it would have been a biggie because that's going full throttle down to the braking zone. Just managed to loop it back around, but it's rare to see such a mistake from Marc Marquez at what is arguably a simple part of the circuit. The rear just stepped out on him coming through. You can see the lap times getting cancelled now on your screens as the yellow flag's still out there in that fourth sector. I doubt they'll red flag right now. Yeah, just a small little bit off the circuit to come through. Yeah, okay, Marc's second bike being prepared for him as well. It's being reported that he is okay. So, good news there as well to come into it. The last thing you want is Marc Marquez injured on the opening session of the weekend, especially when he's coming through to an improvement. Won the sprint, won the Grand Prix, and yet still got booed in Mugello. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's been raining quite a lot this weekend as well in Assen. There's rain predicted for race day, but that could easily disappear. Davide Tardozzi is at the back of the Ducati garage waiting to receive Marc Marquez. Vinales up by 2/10 in the sector 1 and 2. Miller, 18 at the moment, should jump up into P4 according to the computer. As Marc comes back in on the scooter for the Marshals, it's actually crashed at the best position because it's just at the back of the paddock area. He won't go straight back into the garage. He's speaking now. Davide Tardozzi, we're going to have a look. And Marc has actually gone back to his trailer. So he's not gone straight back to the garage like we thought he would. Let's take another look at it. So Elite Angle's fine through 13. That's where Lorenzo crashed about 12 years ago in that wet practice one. Yeah, he did well not to high side it. The rear steps out, controls it. Yeah, it is at the Ramshook as well, where he's gone down. Fast crash. And he knows how important that is to not damage your bike early on. Gigi D'Alineo saying he's going to be out the back here. That's where Davide Tardozzi is. And yeah, the big bosses of Ducati are now going to talk to Marc Marquez. That's quite unusual actually as well. If that was Pecco Bagnaia, they wouldn't be doing that. But considering it's Marc Marquez, it's all hands on deck. Let's make sure the superstar isn't injured. But yeah, that's a bit of a new one on me. Don't usually see many people wanting to dive in and out as the two KTMs do battle. That is Maverick Vinales alongside Enea Bastianini. So it's the Tech 3 KTM, not the factory runners of the Red Bull KTMs. This is Red Bull KTM Tech 3. So same bikes, but different teams across the board. Ideally, they just run 4 bikes. It's a bit of a confusion as to who's where and when compared to them all, but it kind of works out and kind of makes a bit more sense as well as Marco Bezzecchi controls that line. Miller is into the pit lane. Acosta's done a 133. 133. Can't see on the board. 133.938. So shoots up ever so slightly on the board for an improvement. As the KTM still run together. Rafa Fernandez up to 7th position, and there's a lot of traffic. Bagnaia with Quartararo, and then in front is Marco Bezzecchi, and Rins just behind them. Like I said, I didn't think Quartararo was in that part of the circuit. I was correct with what I was saying. F2's got a yellow flag, by the way, in their practice session. What's going on now, I wonder? Omi and Tom taking you through the end of that session while we start the MotoGP coverage. Just sliding at the rear. 1:10, 11:12, 5 tenths down at the moment. Pedro Costa's had a lap time deleted by the stewards for track limits, so he's dropped down to 14th position. As a heads up. Bagnaia Ducati into the last corner, shaking around. Even he doesn't know what's going on. Rin's going to have him here quite easily if he's not careful. Miller 5th, Rins 6th, Bagnaia in 11th, Paul Espargaro 14th. Sorry, Aleix Espargaro 14th. Yeah, no Luca Marini this weekend. He's out with injury. So Aleix Espargaro is debutising once more. And everyone's told actually you better not out Maverick Vinales as well. As and Franco Morbidelli, to be fair. With half an hour to go in the opening session, Alex Marquez down in the Casino garage, just watching on. Oh, okay. So Dr. Angel Charte has gone to check on Marquez in the Ducati truck. We've just been told as well. So the doctor's gone to check on him as well. Interestingly, that just want to check that everything's okay with that hand, presumably, because it was a fast accident down on the deck. Wonderful camera angle shot there as we watch Rins and Bagnaia. Rins is 6th, Bagnaia is 11th. Flash through. And they're holding together nicely. Into the last corner, the chicane here. Should be a smoother run as they exit over the line. And Pecco Bagnaia, fastest, 133.135. Alex Rins 3rd on a 133.272. So big improvements coming in. Half an hour to go. Giuseppe Dell'Ineo watch on, looking okay. Songkat Chantra enters the pit lane, 22nd at the moment out of the 22 runners. Pulls in. And what's this? The Asian Talent Cup applications for the 2026 grid is now open. Sign up until the 20th of July for the road to MotoGP. Of course, the big thing we should be talking about, while we've got a little bit of a lull with everybody coming into the pit lane, only Bagnaia and Rins out there on cool-down laps, the Liberty Media acquisition of MotoGP has now been confirmed and will go ahead. So Liberty Media will own MotoGP, Moto2, Moto3, Moto-E, the Asia Talent Cup, the British Talent Cup, as well, the Red Bull Rookies Cup, World Superbikes, World Super Sport, World Super Sport 3000, and the Women's Circuit Racing Championships as well. So, plus along to that, Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula 3, and F1 Academy. Liberty Media have got the monopoly on 2- and 4-wheel racing. The European Council were very much wanting to investigate if it would be legal. They found no issues. It's going to be 2 completely separate entities. And ergo, it is going to be okay, and has been deemed okay as well by the teams. Bagnaia into the pit lane as well. And now the track falls silent. We'll hand down to Susie Perry in about 30 seconds' time and have a word with her about the situation out here on the circuit. I'm hoping that works to come through. Always been difficult actually when we have to adjust it and get it sorted. So, situation looking strong. Oh, I can't restart. There we go. There we go. Right, let's head down to Susie Perry now on TNT as we get the action going.
So the reason is that Pecco's riding style does not suit the 2025 Ducati. The small, we know they're not major changes, but the changes they've made, whatever it is with the, you know, the engine inertia or you know, it sounds. Same, you know, it's the same problem that you can't adapt to. One thing I'd say though is that around here in Assen, it's a lot more flowy and there's a lot less, except turn one basically, there's a lot less hard braking, and he's still. We're going to see the crash again.
Oh, it's horrible, isn't it? Watch his hand there, there as he hits the gravel.
His hand and the shoulder as well. When he walked back in the truck, his arm was sort of like...
It looked wrong, didn't it?
Wrong, yeah. So let's hope there's no injury with the shoulder as well. And obviously taking the glove like that off immediately, it normally means you can feel sharp pain, so you want to take it off and have a look at what it is. Didn't look like there was any cut or anything like that, any sort of flesh wound. So, you know, this... And his hand looked a bit funny, like the two fingers on the left. So probably didn't dislocate them or...
It's a bit weird, that one.
It looks like it breaks traction at about
his little finger there looks
200 kilometers an hour. So what's that? That's about what? About 110. 120 mile an hour, is it?
Yeah, it's a big. He got slapped onto the ground, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Pecco around here, obviously great record, winning the last, is it the last three?
Last three, yeah.
Yeah, so great record, but...
And he got his first win here, of course. He loves this place. I mean, I wasn't joking about the tattoo. He has got it tattooed on his arm.
Yeah,
he loves
so,
it so much.
you know, we've been saying it last week in Mugello, and we've said it in the past, you know, this is another chance for him, like genuinely another chance of, you know, getting on the top step again. So let's see.
Especially now that perhaps Mark might have an issue. He's got to run with it.
You have to. That's how it works. That's racing. It's never changed. You come in and you find out your main rivals hurt themselves. You've got to think, right, well, now is my chance. As harsh as that sounds, that's what we're talking about. I mean, he's got a cushion. He's got a full weekend's cushion. If you do the maximum you can score over a weekend with winning the sprint and the Grand Prix on Sunday is 37 points. So he's got a full weekend cushion. We've got a weekend off after this.
Yep.
Let's say if he doesn't race, and then it's off to Germany and Czech Republic back to back. So worst case scenario is if he can't race, and I know obviously loads of, you can say no point in speculating, but let's just say he can't, then he will turn up to Germany in 3 weeks' time as the championship leader still.
Yeah, absolutely, with that good cushion as well.
That's a good sign.
Here we go.
New gloves and new knee sliders.
Yeah.
That is a really positive
Prepping
sign.
to go out again. Okay, so that's good news. Hopefully we'll see Mark.
Did you see how nervous that Yamaha looked then?
Here he is.
Now that's very, very good news. Swap the chute.
He looks shaken though.
Yeah, he looks shaken, but it looks like he's ready to go again. So that would mean no major injury.
Anybody would be shaken from what just happened, but because it's Mark,
Yeah, quite a big one.
you know, you're like, oh, he's shaking.
He's
well,
shaking.
Of course he's shaking.
Yeah.
He's thrown off his bike, but it's Mark, so I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all eyes on Mark then.
He looks, yeah, he's done.
He's saying he's
definitely something going on.
It's almost like
hand,
I've lost feeling in my hand. I banged my elbow,
yeah,
and then I like the nerve.
Yeah,
that's what you'd say. Oh, he's smiling. I tell you, that look. I honestly, I had a feeling that was his weekend over. I just had because we see him crash so many times, and he's made a Teflon. He just bounces, doesn't he, and just walks off. And
he does.
Yeah, you rarely see him hurt. You know, he normally just bounce off, run back to the pits, and
he will also he hides anything.
Exactly.
Hides any problem that he has. He used to not go to the Clinico when it was run by Italians because he didn't want the Italian riders, i.e. Valentino Rossi, to know how damaged he was, so he wouldn't go. I mean, that's the make of Mark. And there we are, zooming in on the hammy.
Well, Sylvan in his prime was never out of the medical centre. He used to go there all the time. Yeah, he loved the massage.
So that's the news.
See, I don't know why he's shaking. It's a big crash.
Huge crash.
Good morning, wake up.
I've said this before in coverage, I'll say it again. I'd love, this will sound awful how I'm going to say this, I'd love you to experience that, Susie.
Very much.
I'd love Gav to experience it, because Gav, and no offence, and I don't mean it like you can't talk about motorcycle racing because you've not experienced a crash. I'd just love you to feel one of them. I know, obviously, MLab's felt it.
Michael is in here.
Michael's laughing. Sylvan knows what that feels like.
What we could do is you could take us in a truck.
What a feature. What a good feature.
Open the door and just throw us out at, 200 miles an hour.
What do you think?
About that?
Gav, are you up for that? Gav's giving me thumbs up. So, Susie, are you up for it?
Of course I am, yeah.
What, pillion ride and just high side on purpose?
No, I think out the back of a truck would be a better...
You think?
Yeah, because I don't want to crash. I don't want to be involved. I don't know what it feels like. That I used to always think that with like journalists that were hard on riders. I used to always think, oh, I'd like them just feel one crash.
But we have come off bikes. We have a little bit of a sense of it, but obviously not.
The only time Gav fell off, he was going that slow, he tipped over. You do need a certain speed.
0-1. They're the worst ones, aren't they, where you just fall off. Right, so Pecco Bagnaia is leading the way. I want to go back to that conversation, if we can, as Mark is about to go out. Pecco's on the way. About Fabio Quartararo, because it was Mark that happened actually when we were starting to have that conversation about his strong words, about very strong hinting that he wants the V4 for next year. He can't continue with what's happening this year. He's not seeing any results, and he needs them now.
They had a bad weekend in Mugello.
Really suffering, Fabio just went back and back and back in the races and was really struggling with pace. So yeah, it was very, very frustrating racing weekend for them in Mugello. Obviously, as well, the lack of horsepower being highlighted in that massive straight. So yeah, I mean, it's not all bad. It was just they've come out of a bad week. Obviously, they were strong in Qatar, in Le Mans, in Jerez as well. But you get the feel that Fabio's looking forward to some more horsepower coming. Obviously, Mayo told us that the V4 was going to be wild-carded before the end of the year. So there's signs that it's coming. But I think Fabio is wishing he'll be there. If he was there tomorrow, he would be happier. Yeah.
It was sort of piling the pressure on Max Bartolini as well, who was the reason that he signed the contract. He talked him into the dream of the project and how it was going to work, and it sounded like Fabio was a bit disappointed that they hadn't quite met where they thought they would be at this stage.
Yeah, you see, I'm actually slightly surprised because I think Yamaha are doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, I do.
They are throwing.
It takes so much time.
So much time. They're throwing the bells and whistles at it.
And imagine swapping an engine configuration like that. It's a huge job. You have to redesign. Basically, you have to redesign the whole bike. The engine is completely different. The V4 is a lot narrower. It's longer. It sits differently in the frame. So you need a completely new bike.
Nothing will fit.
Nothing will fit. Literally, you'd think, oh, it's just a straight swap. Just put the V4 instead of the inline. Absolutely not. The bike will be completely different. The weight distribution, the way you put the tank, the ride height device as well will be different. Everything will be different. So huge job that they've taken on there, and that it's even already lapping on track
is impressive.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Yeah.
But you
can understand the frustration as he goes fastest.
I also understand Fabio's position. He's the lead man, and all he's trying to do is keep his foot on the throttle, pressuring Yamaha. Yeah, okay, I know you're doing all this. It's not enough. We need more. We need more. We need more.
But Valentino used to do that, didn't he?
All the time.
He used to be vocal, and it's a way of keeping the pressure on the manufacturer. Yeah.
Especially on a big weekend that they're all looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everyone. We're back in the box. What's going on here with our timer? There we go. So we're back in the main box now. Hello, everybody. So Quartararo still on top for Vinales second. Bagnaia third, Di Antonio in fourth, Rins fifth, Quartararo just at a 1:32. And now Bezzecchi, 1:32.912, as he goes to the inside of Aldeguer, and they both run wide in the first corner, and Aldeguer's furious with that, going like, what are you doing? But Bezzecchi's not even looking at him on the monitor, so I'm not really surprised that was a situation that has developed for the stewards. Let's have a look at our timing information from race control. It's a 1:32.912 for Bezzecchi. Quartararo 1:32.956. Lap time cancelled for Pedro Acosta. Doctors and concussion specialists, can anyone help? Yeah, so what's going on here? That's Simon Patterson, who's wanted a message about something as well coming through. Mark as well coming through. Evening, Michael. Evening, everybody. Adam says about the legendary TT Assen as well coming through. Mark, a little bit of damage, but he's okay. He's back out on the circuit now, actually. We are watching. So Mark is back out onto the track. Looks to be A-OK, 100%. So Marc Marquez a second back at the moment. He's on the soft front, medium rear. Brand new set on bike 2. Mark will just take a little bit of time, I reckon, just to get used to the track once again. Mark, 21st position. Lap time cancelled for Songkat Chancha for exceeding track limits. Songkat Chancha now has no official time in this session. I find that very surprising, to be fair, the 22 we've got so far. Oh, into drone camera. To the last corner. They tried to give us a little arty shot there, and it didn't really pay off the best it could. Bezzecchi, 1:32.912. Quartararo, 0.044 back. Viñales is coming into the pit lane then as well. We have time remaining.
Stupid to go and bonsai over lap now, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Really would be. That's looking good out there. Because I think we expected a little bit more in Mugello. It didn't quite come on the Sunday.
It was too far on the grid, wasn't it?
Really,
yeah, 10 from the grid, too much of an ass.
It showed so much promise on the Saturday that we thought it was going to happen again on the Sunday, and it didn't. Can we just take a couple of minutes to talk about the only big news, really, that we've had since Mugello, and that was, of course, that the European Commission approved Liberty Media's acquisition of our sport MotoGP. So they got approval on Monday from the European Commission to complete the acquisition of MotoGP rights holder Dorna. The deal is expected to close next week, which means that Liberty Media will acquire 84% of MotoGP rights holder Dorna Sports, with MotoGP management retaining the other further 16. What does that mean? Well, it means that we're probably going to be looking at some growth in America. If we look at the model of Liberty taking over Formula One, that was the first thing that they did. They grew the sport in America. They added in Saudi Arabia and Qatar, because we already go to Qatar. The only thing is, obviously, they have street tracks. Las Vegas, Miami, we can't do that. They're also talking about being closer to cities, which is better for everybody, better for audiences. So it's interesting to think what they could do. I suppose they'll be improving their side of it, their video pass, as they have done with Formula One. They threw in F1 TV, and that's all going really well for streaming. So there's things like that are going to change. But what they have got is a make, but I'm just talking about it because it's Liberty that are buying this. And they're buying this incredible world global star in Marc Marquez, who is about to, let's be honest, he's probably going to win the World Championship this year. And what an incredible story leading up to this year we've seen.
So, Liberty, what's the second part of their name? Liberty Media. Right, so we've got a media company that have now bought 84% of our sport that we all love and that we've loved all our lives. It can only go one way. It can only be positive for our sport. Of course, a lot of the purists are like, don't turn it into Formula One. I don't really know what that means, because I don't know how you could turn it into Formula One. It's bike racing, and we're not going to race in cities. Of course, we're not. You need runoff.
Yep.
We need to race nearer to cities. Well, if you build circuits nearer to cities, we will race there, and that'll be perfect. But they will obviously there's a certain safety level. You need enough runoff. Do you know what I can't believe? I said this week. I can't think who I said it to. I'm surprised no one's designed a track. Do you know the last corner here? You've got a floating grandstand. I can't believe no one's designed a track yet. Was it to you, Gav? We were talking about it, where the grandstands are right next to the track, but they're above, and you've got floating grandstands that creates loads of runoff for riders, so you could be closer to the action. I think that's probably in the future.
I'll tell you something.
Sorry, I've gone off on a tangent there.
It's fine. I'll tell you something that Liberty do, and they've done with Formula One. They've turned every single race into an event. It's a festival. Now, there's two ways of looking at this. Right, you can go, oh, it's like Glastonbury, and MotoGP will be like the pyramid stage, and it'll be all weekend. Now, the good thing about this is that's what they do in Le Mans. That's what your friend, the promoter, Claude Michi, does. He does it beautifully. It's packed, it's sold out, and everyone has a fantastic time all the time because there's loads of stuff going on. Liberty are promoters, and they will do that for each event. Now, what you don't want, and what I think what you're talking about with tourists, you don't want it to turn into a circus where it's 90%. Ooh.
That was close. Sorry, Susie.
Yeah, it was. No.
Watch this. Watch this. It'll be a good shot of this. But that's sort of fourth gear.
Wow.
Oh, is it fifth? Oh, there you
How
go.
the heck
Is that
did you
fifth
say
gear,
that?
Silvan?
Yeah, it's like a quick short shift before. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm glad he saved that because you don't want to crash there.
That'd be a nice picture if a photographer was there taking that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You'd be screenshotting that, wouldn't you?
Oh,
Seeing the
you're
talent there, aren't we, of
Here we
Aldeguer,
are.
which is good. Yeah.
Sorry, Susie, you were saying.
No, what we don't want is it to turn into a circus where it's 90% entertainment, 10% sport. You know, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. They're going to grow the sport. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to have more races in America, and we're going to get new ideas. I think there could be some radical ideas in World Superbike because, of course, they'll be owning that as well. So I don't know what's going to happen in that situation, but I only see this as a positive thing.
Same. I think they will look to maybe have 2 races in America at some point, but as we're all pretty aware, I know because I raced the championship out there, there is no other track right now that you could say you can clearly go to this track.
Not ready.
It's well, FIM sort of spec, the enough runoff, the garage facilities. Do you know, strange. A lot of the tracks you go to in America don't have a real, let's say, a paddock pit infrastructure. It's even some good circuits, but there are no proper garages. It's quite a strange one.
Well, the first thing they need to do is to grow Texas because it's too quiet and nobody comes.
Yeah.
Now, I did Formula One in Texas before Liberty came, and then I saw it when Liberty came the year later. It was unbelievable, the difference. And they will do that for MotoGP. They will create people and a buzz.
Am I right in saying, Susie, then, so when you was there, there'd be like 50,000 people, and now there's like 400,000.
Yeah,
no, it's sold
boomed.
out.
Sold out.
It
Yeah, you
Can't
can't.
buy tickets. And they've got the biggest stars in the world going at night and with the concerts, and it's fantastic, absolutely. And they will do that for Formula One, and it will be better for fans because you will come. Not only will you see the greatest racing in the world.
We're going to see it again.
Okay.
This is from Aldeguer.
Things like this.
Oh, completely down the deck. It saved it somehow.
Look at that.
That shot, for any rider, that's the shot you would have. If you're going to have a shot at home, on the wall, so when your mates come in, you go like, yeah, I did it every lap that.
Is that on your Hinge profile, would you, Neil?
Listen to the RPM here. Oh. I'll be going into the pits for a little sit down after that.
There he
look at
is.
him.
He's laughing.
Oh, to be 20 years old and fearless.
That's exactly what he is, isn't it? He's so...
Fearless. And ridiculously talented.
Yeah, doing a great job. All the kids loving it. Fantastic.
Superb.
Start them off young.
And hey, that is something Liberty will be trying to do.
Creating a younger audience,
Absolutely.
which is what they've done with
Which
Formula
has-
One as well. Yeah.
Massively. I know so many people.
And telling the stories. I mean, there's so many stories that can be told there, and the characters, building the characters of the like they've done, you know, for the drivers.
The Drive to Survive was the biggest game
Team
changer.
managers, the whole. There's so many stories to tell, and I really hope they do that and go in depth with that, because these guys on those bikes are special. They're special people, special athletes, and there's a lot to tell about every one of them. So yeah,
There is, and there's an argument, Sylvain, to say that there's more stories and more characters here than they've got in Formula One, and look what they've been able to do with that by creating a new younger audience. And our sport needs that, because if you don't have a younger audience, the sport fades out with the audience, you know. So you've got to keep that going, and I think they will have fresh ideas, and they will come in, you know, with their skills and switch things up, and I think we'll see it reasonably quickly.
Yeah,
in certain areas.
And do you know what? There will be a period, there'll be some decisions made that won't be liked. They'll change some things. Yeah. But if you want to grow it, you're gonna have to make some big decisions.
I think everybody needs to be a little bit open-minded, because it's happening. Anyway, that was the news of the week there.
Yeah.
Liberty Media.
Look at this, the Yamaha. Super twitchy, really nervous.
Yeah, not happy with that. But you'd think that the Yamaha should sit better around this track than it did last weekend.
He's still not happy.
Yeah, you would. But
should do it. It's a big cooler temperature, and the nature of the track, you'd think so. But yeah, the bike there slightly shaking on the. It's normally, I mean, that's a flat out. It's not even a corner. You just cut the curb a bit.
Yeah, you wouldn't even think about. You wouldn't actually. Believe it or not, it shows the difference between a MotoGP bike. Like a super bike, through that part of the track, you'd be able to relax. You'd be just banging the gears at it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you? You'd fire it through that kink. On a GP bike, the Yamaha, which is known as a very nervous bike. That's why it's quite agile in places. You have to be precise with your movement and not use your upper body too much, because that can create the instability.
Your world champion, by the way, Jorge Martin, got a fitness test on Monday, so we'll be finding out. And then, of course, he's allowed to go and do a test day before racing, which will probably happen the following week.
Yeah, needed, because I mean, since the start of the year, he's done so little. Fortunately, with those successive injuries, so yeah, looking forward to see him back in shape, because Bezzecchi at the moment is going really well. You know, he's proving that the bike is good. And yeah, I think we're all looking forward to see Jorge Martin back.
Isn't it funny? I saw a picture of him this week on Instagram, and I'd forgotten about him.
What?
I'd forgotten about him. Like, genuinely. You're just like, oh yeah.
Bruising on his left elbow. Yeah, just a little mistake.
Yeah, as in, forgotten about him. You're like, oh yeah. Jorge Martin, like, it's not...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like...
I haven't forgotten about Jorge Martin, but I know what you mean, because it's round 10.
Yeah, we've not seen it. Well,
we haven't seen him. We've seen him at one round.
Qatar, and then he got unlucky again.
Yeah.
With that crash and getting run over.
It sounds like, doesn't it, that he could return for Brno. That sounds like...
Yeah, that'd be good. Brno would be a good track again, just like Qatar, to come back from injury, because he's quite nice and flowy, and you know, it's not one of the physical tracks.
Yeah, you wouldn't pick Sachsenring to come back to, would you, at all?
No, definitely not.
No.
So hopefully soon, in a few weeks' time, then we'll see the world champion back. Jorge Martin. Remember him?
Red Bull Ring was better.
I think every time, you know, at the start, before the race starts, and it shows all the riders.
Yeah.
What do they call that? It shows them, you know,
promo.
The promo with the music.
Yeah.
There's two things that it always makes me laugh. For some reason, Maverick Vignali's sat on top of something. Watch for it this time. Next time, you'll see. He's like sat on top of, like, I don't know what he's sat on top of. Anyway, and then it gets right to the end, and then it shows you your world champion, and you're like, oh yeah, like, forget about him.
Yeah.
I to be in the brain of Neil Hodgson.
Yeah, but it's Gav always laughs when he sees Maverick sat on top of this thing. It is funny.
He's sitting on the word
MotoGP, but he looks sort of confused. He's like sort of happy, but he's like, why did I end up sat up here? What's for it? Because me and Gav, honestly, we're preparing to do the race commentary, And me and Gabbo always look at each other and it shows mouth.
Short straws. I think he must have drawn the short straw there for his position. This is quite a story, isn't it, really? My goodness me. Marc Marquez, top of the table. You thought he was down and out half an hour ago. He'd had a massive crash. Goes out, sets the fastest time. I mean, we seem to say it every week.
Yeah, that was a big crash, and he did look shaken. Took him, I mean, he did his best time in lap 7. So yeah, it didn't take him much time. You could see that he was a little bit careful on the left side. You know, he respected the left side of the tire for a few laps, making sure that everything was you know, in temperature and not to get caught again. Yeah, that could have been really bad for him. I mean, that was such a bad crash, high speed, violent, being thrown out on his left side. But fortunately, yeah, no injury.
I didn't realise the stat that he was so close, but if Mark wins the Grand Prix on Sunday,
yeah,
he equals Giacomo Agostini.
That's right, 68 it'll be.
I didn't realise that he was already that close to Giacomo.
Yeah, and
I thought Giacomo was closer to Valentino.
Well, Giacomo's 68, Valentino Rossi is 89.
Yeah.
He's obviously the most winning rider of all time.
In the Premier class.
In the Premier class.
So he's got
89 wins.
22 wins to go to equal Valentino.
Yeah.
For wins in the Premier class.
Yeah.
So he needs the next year to be able to equal.
Isn't it interesting, or I find it interesting, that you talk to some people, say what Mark's on a decent lap, you'll talk to some people and they'll say, Ago's got, is it 15 world titles? Ago's got, I think it is.
13 plus 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
what he always said.
and people say that, oh, he's obviously the greatest of all time, and he was absolutely incredible. I thought he had more
Wins.
Premier class wins.
Yeah, but it was loads less races, wasn't it? In the calendar.
Yeah,
Probably.
Well, yeah. I guess we've got 22 rounds now, and back then it was more like, what, 15?
So Mark is on a set of used tyres. The tyres have got 11 laps, and he's doing this now. He's almost 3 times up on his best time.
Marc Marquez to the top again, 132.216.
After having a huge crash, so
You know, you have to doff your cap to him. He's extraordinary, the way he's redefined racing a motorcycle. He does it year in, year out. We talk about Toprak coming next year. Can he redefine, again, riding motorcycle? Because, you know, both of you think that he can't do what he does on the World Super, and on the World Superbike, can't do that on a MotoGP bike, but his innate talent,
he might just go on the bike and actually do it.
He might be able to change it.
We don't know that. We don't know that for sure. Which is the exciting bit about it. All we know is that he's got a very, very special talent, obviously, and that's it. So it'll be so exciting to see him on the GP bike next year.
And it feels like it'll be good for us to talk about, because we've got the same rules and regulations obviously until 2027, and we've got Mark on the Ducati being able to ride it like no one else can. So why not?
Flags out.
Why will we not have a repeat performance of this year? I mean, you do hope that everybody else will make a step forward, but we keep saying that.
Yeah, but if you look at the steps forward the Japanese manufacturers have made this year, it's been huge, haven't they? They've really taken advantage of the concessions, which they will continue to as well. So I expect to see it closer. I'm obviously sitting here right now, my gut feeling is we're going to get the same result. I think Mark's clearly going to be the man to beat, and I can't see anyone beating him even in next year in 26. After that, your guess is as good as mine.
Well, the rule changes, so we've got a level playing field again.
Yes.
We're not going to see any practice starts.
What?
I know you're upset about it.
What? How come?
Your favourite bit?
Devastated. Because we were obviously delayed due to the track conditions.
Oh.
Moto2.
But surely they can't start a race if they've not been able to practice a start.
This afternoon.
Right,
We're going to do it this
Don't
afternoon.
worry.
At what time?
Don't panic, they'll do it after
Am I
the session.
commentating? I need to commentate on the
Let's hope
practice starts.
so. I really hope
It's really exciting.
They do need it. It's quite sharp, you know, turn one, and yeah.
So that's technically it then. No practice starts on the grid for this one. That's not the best, but an understandable situation. Okay, so that's the end then of the session. Marc Marquez top for Maverick Viñales and Marco Bezzecchi. Pecco Bagnaia Fabio Di Antonio, Fabio Quartararo, Alex Marquez, Jan Zarco, Ferdinand Gear, Alex Rins, Pedro Costa, Raul Fernandez, Franco Morbidelli, Jack Miller, Miguel Oliveira, Juan Mir. Then we get Neo Bashini, Lorenzo Salvadori, Ayagura, Brad Binder, Alex Rin, Aleix Spargo, and Som Kat Chantra. Confirmed that the session for the practice starts have been moved to this afternoon. Kind of expected that, to be fair. I'm not 100% liking it. But I understand. It's not the best situation to come into it, is it? And have to deal with. Also, I can't find the ass in orbit. Well, here we go then. End of the session. My thanks to you at home. We'll see you later on. Take care. Bye-bye.